When working with a client team on an extranet site or a local team site, issue tracking is a list that I use frequently to communicate with my peers and my customers. An issue is not necessarily a task, it hasn't been specifically assigned. Maybe it could be a centralized place to record to-dos, but I like to think about it as an important item. It's not necessarily an idea, but it's something that needs to be recorded in a central place so it doesn't get lost because it could be important to your project. This item needs to be reviewed and discussed by a group, your team, so that there can be actual resolution. It's built off of a technical issues list and could even be used for troubleshooting and other issues. What makes the issue list so powerful is it's really based off of standard features that are available in other lists, but you just click once and create the issue tracking list and all of these features are turned on. Versioning is turned on in this list, which most people don't use, and this allows that in the comment section you can see the changes to the text. So if people continually write notes, or you can just see when the item was edited instantaneously. Also, this is one place where it really helps to be able to connect one issue to the other to see what's related and be able to visualize what you might have to look at throughout the issues list. As mentioned before, what do I use this for? Well, I highly recommend it for troubleshooting. This doesn't have to be just if you're deploying a solution, but also could be if you're trying to come up with a new product and brainstorm what are the different issues that could come up and have a central place to record all of them and review them as a team. A technical survey has become an integral part in our everyday life. We're used to opening a website, seeing, can you participate in this survey? Or having your employer send out a survey about your engagement in your organization. Well, you have that technology in SharePoint. A survey quickly allows you to ask questions and visualize answers. It's very easy to use the same steps that you've used to create list items before. Create a set of questions and then rapidly get graphs of the information so you can make decisions based on the results. There are the out-of-the-box column types, but the survey adds new column types like a rating scale, you can see it on this slide, a number scale so you can graphically orient the answers, you can do a yes or no, and of course you can do a text, but it's harder to weed through that information. Finally, a survey is highly specialized and it has controls for security if you want people to be able to only respond once or if they can respond multiple times. And also you're able to hide or show the names, so if people want to see all of the results, they can, but they might not be able to attribute them to any one individual. Now we'll take a look at these two lists. Here in our team site, we've created an issues list that's mostly used for troubleshooting. As you can see, we already have two individual issues. One is internet speed, and one is labeled updating computers. We'll take a look at that in a second. First, let's look at the different views that are available. We have a list of all issues. We have active issues, and you'll notice that only one issue is displaying here because the previous issues, one was marked resolved. And then we have another view called My Issues. I'm very happy to say that I don't have any assigned to me here. Let's go back and create a new item to take a look at the different column values. So here, this is very similar to a task list, and based off some principles that are used when building a product or a piece of software, but also can be applied to everyday business use. So we have a title. As always, we can assign it to someone. So here I will have an issue. And what I would like to show you is the different status. So we have active, resolved, and closed. So you see here, someone might say that it is resolved, but a group of people usually have to say, okay, it certainly is resolved and it has not come up again, and it's closed. Here we'll call this active. Priority, you can change these as you want, normal, high, low, to identify when you discuss them in a meeting or when someone troubleshoots. Rich text description. In here, a lot of times I'll add a link to the page that we're describing, or if it's a reference site or something of that nature. You can make this full rich text if you want to be able to add images of items directly in, or you could add attachments. What category is this in? Is it about editing, or is it about delivery of our training materials? And this is something that you too can edit. Related issues. So this is really interesting. Is this issue related to any other ones? In this case, it's not. And then if you want to make a comment here, you can. Thank God for spell check. So now I do have an issue. You'll also notice that the issue ID is highlighted. That's always in existence for list items, but the issue links you directly to the information about it. Let's go back to all issues. Here we see internet speed and updating computers. So Paige said that the internet speed when she was working was slow, but maybe it really was that the computer needed to be updated. So let's take a look. Here we have resolved, not closed yet because we all as a team have to agree. We have the description, and you can see that the item has been edited twice, and in the comments, while nothing was added, it's recorded when the item was changed. This was done because versioning control is actually on the list. So if we come back to the same item and look at the version history, we'll see the original entry of the data and then when the item was set to resolved. All of those different features are integrated into the issues list, making it a really useful tool to, again, centralize an idea that you can review with your team or help you troubleshoot an existing solution or business problem, or maybe brainstorm and record notes for a future item. Welcome to the SharePoint 2013 survey. Okay, so it doesn't actually look that much different. It is basically the same survey that was used in SharePoint 2007, but I bring it to you again as a power user because it is an easy to use tool to quickly ask questions and get results. There's a lot you can do with the survey that's better than using and going out to an outside tool, and then you can always export to Excel to get more valuable reports and cut the information in multiple ways. Let's take a detailed tour. First, you'll see here a summary view of the information, a choice to go to a graphical summary, or to view all responses. If you come up here to the right, you'll also see the same choices. Also, you'll see the old school 2007 Actions dropdown, where we can export to a spreadsheet, we can build an alert, or even RSS feed. Also, we have the settings. We can go directly to add a question, or we can go into the detailed survey settings, which is just like the library settings and list settings we've looked at before. Let's go into the survey settings. Here you can see this looks exactly the same as all of the list and library settings as before. However, when we go into the details, there are a lot of different choices. Here you see the standard name, description, and navigation items, but what's different is the survey options here. You can say to show the username in the results or allow for multiple responses. Now, when the survey goes live, of course you want to say no, but if you're testing a survey, I would highly recommend that you mark it as yes. So for this, I'll say yes. Under Advanced Settings, we have some great tools that allow you to secure the information a little bit more than in a normal list. You can read all responses. You can read all responses only created by the user. Who can create and edit the responses? Well, you can create and edit all. You can only create responses that were created by you. Or you can only create a response and not edit any of them. You can decide whether you want the items to show up in a search index, which usually you do, but you don't have to. And a very important feature is if you want the ability to download the information into an Excel spreadsheet or offline client. By default, the survey does not open in a dialog like most other lists. Those are the custom settings. So let's take a look at adding a question. Here you can see almost exactly the same interface as adding any list item. However, now you get a bigger box of text to be able to actually type the question in. Here let's ask what do we think about SharePoint surveys and use a rating scale, which is a really neat feature of the SharePoint survey. Here we're allowed to create sub-questions and have people rate them on a scale, usually a scale of 1 to 5, and you can type the range of the text, and you can say if you want people to be able to add a not applicable option. We'll say that they can't say not applicable, and we want to ask questions about Okay, we've added 3 sub-questions, the number range, the description of that. Let's go on to a next question. Another very useful question is a choice. Just like any other column, we can provide results for that question. Let's type the same question with the same answers. Okay, slightly different, but you get the point. Let's allow people to do radio buttons and select only one of these values. Let's finish and say we're done with the survey. Now we want to go back to the overview, and now we can respond to this survey. You can put this overview on any page if you want people to go to a page that has a description about the survey on it. Here you can see I have quick access to the 2 close but not quite the same questions. What do I think about SharePoint surveys? All right. Let's do another. And now if I want to look at all the graphical responses, I can. And you see here that SharePoint quickly provides graphs, so I can look at the results. These are highly useful for numerical results and not that useful if you allow for text. However, again, you can always export the information to an Excel spreadsheet. There you go. centralizing questions and quickly building questions to send to your peers throughout your organization.